About 1,000 years ago, approximately, I was apprenticed as a printer's devil to learn the trade, in common with 3 other boys of about my own age. There came to the village a long-legged individual of about 19 from one of the interior counties, fish-eyed, no expression, and without the suggestion of a smile. Couldn't have smiled for a salary. We took him for a fool, and thought we would try to scare him to death. We went to the village druggist and borrowed a skeleton. The skeleton didn't belong to the druggist, but he had imported it for the village doctor, because the doctor thought he would send away for it, having some delicacy about using. The price of a skeleton at that time was $50. I don't know how high they go now, but probably higher on account of the tariff. We borrowed the skeleton about 9 o'clock at night, and we got this man, Nicodemus Dodge was his name. We got him downtown out of the way, and then we put the skeleton in his bed. He lived in a little one-storied log cabin in the middle of a vacant lot. We left him to get home by himself. We enjoyed the result in the light of anticipation. But by and by we began to drop into silence. The possible consequences were preying upon us. Suppose that it frightens him into madness, overturns his reason, and sends him screeching through the streets. We shall spend sleepless nights the rest of our days. Everybody was afraid. By and by it was forced to the lips of one of us that we had better go at once and see what had happened. Loaded down with crime, we approached that hut and peeped through the window. That long-legged critter was sitting on his bed with a hunk of gingerbread in his hand, and between the bites he played a tune on a Jew's harp. There he sat, perfectly happy, and all around him on the bed were toys and gimcracks and striped candy. The darned cuss, he had gone and sold that skeleton for $5. The druggist's $50 skeleton was gone. We went in tears to the druggist and explained the matter. We couldn't have raised that $50 in 250 years. We were getting board and clothing for the first year, clothing and board for the second year, and both of them for the third year. The druggist forgave us on the spot, but he said he would like us to let him have our skeletons when we were done with them. There couldn't be anything fairer than that. We spouted our skeletons and went away comfortable. But from that time the druggist's prosperity ceased. This was one of the most unfortunate speculations he ever went into. After some years, one of the boys went and got drowned. That was one skeleton gone. And I tell you, the druggist felt pretty badly about it. A few years after, another of the boys went up in a balloon. He was to get $5 an hour for it. When he gets back, they will be owing him $1 million. The druggist's property was decreasing right along. After a few more years, the third boy tried an experiment to see if a dynamite charge would go. It went all right. They found some of him, perhaps a vest pocket full. Still, it was enough to show that some more of that estate had gone. The druggist was getting along in years, and he commenced to correspond with me. I have been the best correspondent he has. He is the sweetest-natured man I ever saw, always mild and polite, and never wants to hurry me at all. I get a letter from him every now and then, and he never refers to my form as a skeleton. Says, "Well, how is it getting along? Is it in good repair?" I got a night rate message from him recently. Said he was getting old and the property was depreciating in value, and if I could let him have a part of it now, he would give time on the balance. Think of the graceful way in which he does everything, the generosity of it all. You cannot find a finer character than that. It is the gracious characteristic of all druggists. So, out of my heart, I wish you all prosperity and every happiness.